Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Between the Benches. And as you can see if you're watching this live or on YouTube, we are back to dual camera. My camera came in and we're set, and now we're rolling again. Now we look more professional than we did before again. And yeah, and we're round down in the playoffs pretty much. We're entering round 2 this weekend, and we're pretty ready for this. So we got some great matchups that concluded, and we got some to preview, and we're going to go for it. So, Jake, how are you doing today, by the way?
Man, it's a really kind of crappy day outside right now.
It is a crappy day outside. That is correct.
Rainy and cold.
Yeah.
Not the best Memorial Day weekend weather, but...
No, it seems like it never is, really. But it's okay. Let's head in. We're going to start in Canada. Briefly, at least, because Canada's round 1 hasn't concluded yet, although we are close. It could be just tonight, Saturday night, that it does conclude, or it could go into Monday, I think. I didn't look at the schedule, but Leafs in Montreal. Right now, it is 3-2 in the series. Montreal just extended the series some more.
So we actually get fans in a Canadian game.
Yes. Yes, we do. Tonight, Saturday night, they play in front of fans for the first time in Canada this season. And, I'm going to be honest, that's all I've seen in the media in the past 2 days. Is all like, oh, how does it feel about playing in front of fans? And Jason Spezza was like, well, I mean, we've done it before, so...
But not in a year and a half for them.
No, not in a year and a half for them.
And not only is it fans, it's like Montreal fans in the Bell Center, which is
Hardcore,
a different animal.
Yeah. So, this could be the energy Montreal needs to extend the series some more. It could be pretty wild. But that's where we're at with that series pretty much. We're not going to talk much about it until it's concluded. We got the preview eventually for Canada.
Yeah, besides the fact that Montreal's coach is terrible.
Yeah. And we did see, though, in Montreal's extension of the series, which was an overtime winning goal, we did see the future of a Montreal team between, who was that, Nick Suzuki and...
It was Suzuki and Caulfield.
Caulfield passed back and forth unselfishly, scored a goal in overtime. It was good. So, that was pretty cool because that is a future of that franchise. And then John Tavares, he's in the arena. He's skating.
Somehow.
Isolated practice for himself and whatnot. But yeah, so that's great news after everything that happened to him in the past week.
Well, especially since his knee got messed up pretty good too.
Yeah.
Like everyone forgets about that part.
Yeah. So seeing him there at least and being a big part of it. I mean, he is going to be a part of their team still behind the scenes, but he's on the ice already. And so that's a big deal. And in no way am I saying, all right, we could see him round 2 because who knows what his timeline is. It could be we don't see him for a while, but he's there. And that's a big deal already. So you always love to see that. Let's go to the concluded series in Canada, Edmonton and Winnipeg. And wow.
I don't like being right sometimes. I really don't.
Yeah,
Especially
you and I obliterated the call for this series, didn't we? Because you and I were like, Winnipeg's kind of got it. We're here for it. And 4-0.
Not only did I have it didn't look particularly great for Edmonton. I learned my lesson from last season where everyone said, oh, they're going to obliterate Chicago. How does Chicago have a chance? Chicago won by doing the same thing that Winnipeg just did.
Yeah. Yeah, we really modeled our preview for the series off of what Chicago did last year, and it worked out.
Literally does the same thing.
Yeah.
Part 2.
Yep, part 2. And Mikey's calling me out. Mikey, a friend of the podcast, in the comments because apparently I said Canada. So, sorry, Canada.
Nah.
It's Canada.
Canada don't have fans.
Until now. This series, though, I tell you what, Winnipeg looked the best they've looked all season. Would I be correct in saying that, maybe?
No, because there was... before they started looking terrible at the end of the season, they were rolling. Yeah,
okay, that's fair. They had a good start to the season, too. But yeah, like Jake said, Chicago was able to shut down Connor McDavid and Leon, and Winnipeg. Winnipeg did a great job of that. So if Winnipeg can do it, man, I mean, I look forward to whatever this second round matchup is. Whether Montreal manages to make it through, I mean, the toughest part for Winnipeg is going to be Carey Price. Or if they get to play Toronto, I think that's going to be an extreme test for Winnipeg and what they are capable of if they get to play Toronto.
But it'd be a pretty similar. What they would have to do is pretty similar to what they just did.
Oh, absolutely, 100%, 100%. But there's more people that could score for Toronto than the two that can score for the Oilers. So, and I tell you what, I stayed up and I watched that Winnipeg game all the way through, which was excruciating at times. All right. I even tried going to sleep at one point, and I couldn't fall asleep because I was too invested in the game. I turned it back on, and I was like, I have to watch this whole thing. I was like 2 intermissions in already. But this was a fun game to watch. It was. And Winnipeg stayed the course through all the overtimes, which is got to be tough on them because they went into double overtime the night before. Literally the night before. They played what? What is that? 6, 7. They played 10 plus periods of hockey in 30 hours. That's absurd. So, I got to give them credit for that because they stayed the course through overtime. They were calm the entire time. Yeah, they were up 3-0 in the series, but for them to just be collected that whole time, and for guys like Kyle Connor and stuff to just
can I butt in here and say, can I just do my
go
calling out of, because I think you were going here, but my calling out of the analytics stats nerd community.
Oh, you could go for that anytime. I'm okay with that.
So
look in the camera.
All we heard,
look at them. There you go.
All I heard going into that series was who's gonna shut down McDavid because Scheifele and Wheeler, they're all bad defensively, and it was mostly just Leaf fans saying it because they try to justify Matthews and Nylander and their stars who don't care to say that they had no shot because those guys aren't going to play defense. Scheifele is one of the best defensive centers in that division. Like, he's up there with, I'd say, Deno, Tavares, and he, along with Josh Morrissey, who you said also was bad defensively, which I kind of agree on that one.
He did great in the series.
The two of them together shut him down almost completely. I mean, what, he had like 2 points, McDavid? It wasn't much, especially by his standards. So, you got to give him some credit. It's impossible for a player that's as good along the walls as he is to be bad defensively. You can look at all the charts you want, watch the game, and see that when he's on the ice, good things happen. Like, he does all the things you want.
Yeah, dude, Scheifele played a lot of minutes in this game, and one of the impressions I got was he was really genuinely so good defensively, and he took the puck away from a lot of guys on Edmonton in his own defensive zone, and transitioned the puck from there. I mean, I don't think we nailed
the series more than this one. Kyle Connor being clutch, Scheifele being good defensively, and Connor Hellebuyck being the better Connor.
Yeah, we did kind of nail this one. Not going to lie. We don't really... You and I don't take too much credit for stuff when we nail it. But
this one we nailed to a T.
Yeah, we kind of nailed this one to a T. And there's some other series in here that we did pretty well on as far as people probably being surprised. And you and I were in that direction. But, yeah, you and I rode this Winnipeg thing hard right through this. And 4-0. One of 2 sweeps in this playoffs. And I really didn't think this was going to be a sweep. I didn't think they could do that for every minute. I didn't think they could shut down Connor and Leon enough for every minute in this series, and they really did.
That's exactly what people said about Chicago, though.
Yeah.
And Taves took out both of them.
Yeah, it's true. This is a strong showing for Winnipeg, man. It really is. I mean,
even the one game where it looked like Edmonton had figured it out, Winnipeg storms back and...
Yeah. Oh, gosh. You and I were at the bar, dude. 3 goals. Mikey was there. He's in the comments. He could attest for that. 3 goals, like, in, what was that, 3 minutes, pretty much?
It was worse than the Anaheim collapse
Yeah, remember
a
that.
couple years ago.
Remember that? That was Tampa Bay, right?
No. Edmonton versus Anaheim when the last time they were in the
Was
real
it?
playoffs.
Oh, yes. Correct. Mikey's saying Jets, Jets.
Don't put that evil in here.
Don't put... It was a great game. And, yeah, we'll talk about Edmonton a lot more now from here on out in the offseason, because they're an offseason team now.
Can you golf in Alberta?
It's a good question. I'm pretty sure they can. Yeah, so let's move on from Canada. That really wraps that up. We'll get back to them once this round 2 is set. And let's move to the West. All right. Colorado, 4-0 St. Louis. Is it much of a surprise? It's not really. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's sad that we get to see the St. Louis team sink like that. But it is what it is. Colorado was the favorite for everyone this year. Not for me and Jake. That's but they were a favorite for most people, and whatever, they move on. There's not much to talk about with that series, because they have
Besides
a bigger
that,
test ahead.
Bennington's bad.
Yeah, Binnington, he had the one game, and then it's just not good. Vegas and Minnesota, though, what a series! Because you and I were like, we were kind of on this Minnesota train. We had to do it for some fun, and they showed up a lot more than I think everyone expected. They were kind of looking pretty good for you and I. That's, I think, the start of a future for Minnesota, dude. I really do. I think this was a great showing for this Minnesota team. I was happy with how they did. I certainly was. How do you feel about this?
I think they deserve to win the series. I think the refs stole 2 games from them.
Yeah, the refs did. That it was not. Yeah. I mean, this team was resilient. They stayed with it. Their defense kind of really proved themselves. I think this was kind of a big proving ground for Minnesota as a team altogether. But their defense really showed up.
You should have gone to it. Kaapo Kakkonen should have seen at least Game 3, if not Game 4. So after Cam Talbot's performance in Game 2 and Game 3, there should have been a change there.
I was really looking forward to see what Minnesota would be able to do with Colorado. Unfortunately, we do not get to see that. We do get to see a pretty hefty matchup between Vegas and Colorado, which we'll get to in a second. But, yeah, dude, I think Minnesota did great. I'm very happy for them. And from what I can remember from any other series in Vegas's entire history now, right, as a franchise, I want to say Minnesota scored on them more than any other playoff series we've seen for Vegas, right? I mean, uncharacteristically, Vegas usually only lets up, 1 or 2 goals? We see Vegas's playoff series be low scoring, right? Minnesota scored on them a lot. A lot more than just 1 or 2 goals. So I think that was pretty impressive for Minnesota. I think that was a feat.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I know.
And because the only series that comes back to the forefront of my mind is a Chicago series, which every game was like 1-0 or 2-1.
That's what I'm saying, dude. So, I think it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I really want to see what the 4 lines versus, I'd say 3 lines of Colorado and Vegas can do versus each other. I'm really interested to see that.
I mean, Vegas, I said it last year, and it's been kind of a theme for them in the media. Well, not in the media, but like per game, is that Vegas is able to roll all 4 lines pretty comfortably and with a structured amount of minutes and stuff, and it works out well. And they did this series again, and their depth guys still did some work. So Vegas is one of the best structured teams in the playoffs. They know their identity, they do their thing, and that's that.
Wait. Did you say the most?
No, one of the.
Okay.
No. One of the most. We have the Islanders to get to and other structured teams like that. But, no. One of the most. I think certainly more than Colorado, I think it's going to be a real test.
I don't really think there's any structure at all to what Colorado does.
Transition game. It's all transition game, right?
It's quick breakouts. That's their structure. Trap the puck on the wall and stretch pass.
Yeah, even though, dude, the thing about Vegas for a lot of this series against Minnesota is every time they scored, it was transition stuff. It wasn't like a... Once they got settled on offense, Minnesota actually handled them very well. Now, here's the thing. I think whoever came out of this Minnesota and Vegas series... Here's how I see this, all right? Minnesota's defense and Vegas's defense are both superior to Colorado's defense. Would I be correct in saying that?
I don't know. I'd say the top. See, I've never really been a big fan of Vegas's defensive unit.
No, huh?
I think they get a lot done with the sum of the parts, but none of those parts are particularly great, which has basically been Vegas the whole time. Now they have, Pietrangelo, which is different, but besides that, I mean, Martinez is good. He's over the hill. I've never been a fan of like White Cloud or all the other ones that they have.
I get that.
And I mean, Shea Theodore is good, but I mean, he's a diet Makar.
See, here's the thing. Yeah, Colorado has a good defense when it comes to offense. I just don't... Well, okay. We're talking about Vegas, though. Vegas against Minnesota's defense. Would you say Minnesota's defense...
Far superior.
Far superior to Colorado's,
yeah.
right? At least defensively, for sure.
Both ways.
Actually, both ways. Honestly, Minnesota's defense is good. So here's the thing. Vegas beats them, right? They have to go into Colorado. Would you say Cam Talbot probably put a superior performance up against Grubauer? I think per shots. The amount of shots that Cam Talbot faced.
Yeah, but
I mean, he faced 40 a game and did well.
And Grubauer sees, 20.
20, yeah. So,
and he still lets in 2.
I think if Vegas can honestly play the same game and have a lot of shots against Colorado like they did against a superior defense in Minnesota, I think there is a chance that this is a great series.
Oh, it's going to be all below the goal line stuff.
Yeah, this is gonna be a really good series. Board work, just everything all the way around, I think, is gonna be a pretty good series. And we gotta predict this. We gotta.
Oh, that's true.
We gotta make our picks. That's true.
Oh,
I forgot about it too. I was wrapped up in that, and I was like, I don't want to try to guess this, but we have to.
Do you want to go first, or I think I have mine.
I'll go first. I'm gonna say Vegas in 7. I think this is really gonna be that good of a series. It goes to 7, and Vegas ices them like they did Minnesota. I think that's how this goes.
The amount of times that this is right here on the spot, where we end up doing the same thing, and you think it we just make this up that we end up thinking the same way.
Yeah.
When I have mine, it was Vegas in 7.
and which is really funny because me and Jake usually write these ahead of time, the picks. This we were like, we don't even have a round 2 notes page up. This is round 1 notes page that I'm going off of and whatnot. Yeah, we didn't write this down whatsoever. We're like, we'll do them on the spot. Screw it. It's only 3 picks we gotta make. Didn't
discuss one thing.
No, we really didn't. This was actually one of the least prepared episodes we've had, but mentally I think we're there. So Vegas in 7 for both of us. Oh, Jason said Colorado in 6. There you go.
He said every series in 6.
Yes, correct. That's a spoiler for the next 2 series. But yes, he said Colorado in 6, and yeah. So, and I have to shout out Mikey because Mikey's pretty active in the comments right now, and I like what he's saying. He did say Minnesota has a little bit of an identity after not having an identity for a while, and they had an identity.
Their identity before was we lose to the Blackhawks.
Me and Jake rode their identity for a while. The whole like grinding it out, and yeah, but they have like an actual playoff identity. That's for sure now. So yeah, let's move on from them. Let's go to the Central Division, which I think this is a pretty competitive division, especially after what we just saw. Tampa Bay beats Florida in, what was that, in 6? Yes, because Spencer Knight made it 6. Don't forget about that one. Spencer Knight, awesome performance. Great appearances, which is only like, what, his 5th or 6th NHL game that he's played?
Yeah, something like that.
Right? So, good on him, man, because he put up such a performance in Game 4, I think. Game 5, actually, maybe.
5.
Yeah. And that was pretty awesome. I was a little bit scared for a second there once Game 5 happened.
Because they yo-yoed every goalie they had.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, all right, we're going with Spencer Knight this game. Didn't even dress Bobrovsky. And, dude, Spencer Knight, he's a real deal in the future.
I mean, if you know anything about Bob, scratching him game 2 was dumb. Like, he has his bad games.
Yeah.
But the next game is usually the exact opposite. So scratching him for Drieger, who had a bad game, is just dumb. Means you have never seen this player before in his history, and what he tends to do.
They really yo-yoed. Like, they really yo-yoed those goalies.
How many games did someone get pulled?
2. Game 3 and Game 4. But then they played Bob in Game 1, then Drieger in Game 2. And then
Drieger Game 3 got pulled, Bob got the win.
Yeah, and then Bob got pulled, and Drieger got... Yeah, if you have 3 goalies, you have too many goalies.
Yeah, if you have 2 goalies, you have no goalies.
Yep.
Honestly, that reminded me of like a late 2010s, early 2010, like 2009 to 2012 Flyers, where it's like we have 8 goalies in the playoffs.
And then you guys go with Michael Leighton, who has a performance, though. Am I wrong?
Yeah, of having the most like infamous goal of all time.
Which goal was that?
Off the side, Patrick Kane.
Oh yeah. They made it that far though. So yeah, Tampa runs through Florida. That's pretty much all we got to say about Florida. Tampa made Florida look messy, and really
until they didn't.
Until Spencer Knight. But game 6 was a runaway for Tampa Bay. They called game early, and
again with the goalies. Like, do you see how they're playing? Like, the defense is not helping anybody.
No, you're right.
Like, they just had nothing. They were in. We said it a couple of times. They're in the deep end without their floaties. They had no response.
And Vasilevsky was great, despite the goals he did let in. He let in a pretty big number of goals, but he played good still. I mean, he stoned a lot of chances. So let's move on to Carolina and Nashville. All right, a series that got extended in. What did I call? I called Nashville in 6. I want to say. I know you wanted to take Nashville at one point.
I think you had Nashville in 6.
I think so. But, okay, whatever. I was still happy with Nashville's performance, even though this extends their mediocrity for next year. And
oh, yeah, because it means John Hines is not getting fired. Sucks
for them. Honestly, sucks for them. But they had a good performance. They gave Carolina a run for their money a little bit in this. Games were exciting. But ultimately, Carolina did better. And that dude, Nedeljkovic, is a real deal. Like, the guy's a good goalie. He's let some goals up, but he's a good goalie. So, I mean, it's against Tampa Bay. That's so hard to say that any goalie's going to play good against Tampa Bay. But I liked what Carolina did. I mean, these dudes, I think Carolina and Tampa Bay were excluding Colorado. Carolina and Tampa Bay had some of the highest scoring players in the playoffs so far. Sebastian Aho had 5 goals. I want to say. I think he had 5 goals. More points. Slavin's back. Dougie Hamilton's still there. I mean, the team's pretty full roster-wise. No injuries. And so is Tampa Bay. So, I mean, this is going to be a good series, I think. I think it is. What do you think?
Well, this is the one we wanted to see. It's Tampa and Diet Tampa.
Yeah, so, that's pretty fair, to be honest. A Diet Tampa.
If just going off of, I don't see.
I know what you're trying to say. I already know what you're trying to say.
Tampa in 5.
Yeah, you want to justify it for Carolina, but it's so hard, dude. I can't do that. Tampa is such a strong team. I don't think the season matters between these two clubs. It didn't matter between Florida and Tampa Bay.
Without Nedeljkovic going full Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Tampa in 5.
Mikey said Tampa Bay light, like Lite light.
Yeah. It's
a
family show, Mikey. Can't make alcohol references.
Yeah. So I got to go Tampa. I'm going to go Tampa in 6. I think Carolina does take 2 games. I think Nedeljkovic is good enough to have 2 wins under his belt in this series, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, Carolina, they play a good game. You like what they do, but Tampa Bay is such a strong team. It's so hard. Jason picked Tampa Bay in 6 as well. So, moving on. East Division. Boston beats Washington rather decisively in the last 2 games. The Islanders just decimate Tristan Jarry. I don't got to talk about Pittsburgh other than that. Tristan Jarry was just...
Wholly bad.
Just not good. Especially that one goal.
I mean, he's scoring on himself. That's all we got to say about that.
Yeah, pretty much. So, all right. Boston and Islanders. The Isles wanted Boston, so they're gonna get Boston.
If they could just look to college football, whenever a team starts to feel themselves, you always get someone every year who says who the fans start chanting "We want Bama," and then proceed to get smacked by somebody.
Yep.
It's careful what you wish for. It always ends up being something like that. It's yeah, you beat Washington, who played like garbage and had half of their players on COVID list or injury. Boston is Pittsburgh without the terrible goaltending.
Yeah. The thing is,
Pittsburgh gave them problems. It's just that Jarry couldn't do a thing.
You're not gonna get free passes against Tuukka Rask. You're not. And Boston's defense is not going to let you get free pass.
I think Pittsburgh had a lead in every game.
Yeah, there were a lot of lead changes this whole series, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, those terrible glove side or unexplained giveaways. Tuukka Rask is unlikely to make those.
Yep. Gosh, I had something in my head for this. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to that's the biggest factor of a difference is Tristan Jarry and Tuukka Rask. The Islanders are going to have to work pretty hard. And so The Athletic put out a power rankings for the remaining teams. This is when Minnesota was still in it. For remaining teams of the playoffs, I think it was just yesterday. That's why Minnesota was still in it. And the Islanders were dead last on their power rankings of the teams in the playoffs. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I sort of agree. Maybe not. I think they're down there, and Boston is up there. I think Boston's the playoff team that we know. We know Boston as a playoff team. They played that way against Washington. And I think Washington gave them some trouble in physical game play, and I don't think the Islanders are going to give them nearly as much trouble in physical game play. I think if Boston can stop Washington...
Also, I don't see who beats them in the face-off dot. Boston. Who beats Boston in the face-offs. Washington got killed every draw.
Yeah, honestly.
Who's not going to allow that to happen on the Islanders?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to come down to what we always say about the Islanders. The Islanders are going to have to get up in these games early and hold it and trap and do all that stuff, right? Other than that, dude, if they can't accomplish that in every single game, Boston, I think, has not an easy way there, but I don't think it's going to be a struggle.
I think this one's going to be similar to a couple other series we said before. Right now, it seems like it's Sorokin's net to lose.
Yep.
The moment they hesitate on that, it's over.
You think so?
Yep.
And Sorokin looked great. I mean, he really did.
Well, I mean, it's hard to be worse than what Varlamov was. Which
Very
Yari was.
Very correct. I don't know why they didn't go to Casey DeSmith at all. But, yeah. I think Boston's going to walk on the Islanders a little bit in this series. What do you think this goes?
Boston 6.
I'm going to go Boston in 5. I'm going to reverse you from the last series. Boston in 5. Matt Barzal didn't show up in the round 1, by the way. I mean, he rarely did. We saw a little bit of stuff from him, which we always see stuff from him. We always see him come into the zone, do the stick
transition
handling, and then they do or they don't result in goals. That's always a hit or miss with him. And against the Penguins, they didn't result in goals at all.
He's a better Jack Hughes. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. He's a better Jack Hughes in all ways. I think that's fair.
No, his shot's still just as much of a muffin.
Okay.
He can just actually put it somewhere.
I'm okay with that. I like that. Yeah. Jason says Boston in 6, by the way. So it's a between the benches sweep with Boston, sweep with Tampa Bay, and yeah, unanimous. I think that's it. I mean, I want to talk about this Boston series more, I guess, but we got to see the games first. I really want to see what the Islanders are capable against Boston. We get to see it tonight for the first time. So yeah, I mean that's it. I just need to see I need to see from the Islanders that they're comfortable against Boston in the physical game, the board work.
That they have someone to check the perfection line.
Yep.
I mean, you got the defensive pair, but Barzal's not doing it.
No.
You're going to put Clutterbuck in the fourth line on them? I mean, maybe Bailey Beauvillier, but it's still a different level. It's like Bergeron, Pasternak, Marchand they are the best line in hockey, in my opinion. Have been for a couple of years now.
Yeah. So I filter out these comments a little bit in my head as they come in. I do it every time. Just kind of what flows with what we're going and stuff like that. Mikey goes, Jake hating on Hughes wouldn't be a hockey conversation without it.
Be better. Not my fault.
Like I said, I filter them and shout them out as they come in, like, if it's appropriate, exactly what's going on. It flows with the conversation me and Jake are having. But that one I just wanted in there. That one was funny from both of you guys. But yeah, I mean, that's it from between the benches, really. So we're looking forward to these playoffs. I'm really looking forward to some of these round 2 matchups. And yeah, that's it. Right? You got anything else you want to add?
No, I just want to see. I want to experience. I want the sound on full blast on that Montreal game tonight.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear those nuts fans in Montreal the whole game.
That's true. That's true.
It's just annoying that again we have a series that's way off pace of everyone else.
Are we gonna get that in Winnipeg at all? Do we get fans in Winnipeg at all?
No. I mean, maybe if they announce it later in the series, like Montreal did. They said if it goes to 6, we'll have fans.
I want Winnipeg fans. I want the
whiteout.
I want the freaking whiteout. White seats are not enough. I want the whiteout. I mean, I really hope they just drop curtains from the rafters, just completely white surrounding the glass. That would be the coolest thing. But they're not, We need fans wearing white. That's it. Oh, you know what? Talk about fans wearing things. Let's just bring this up because I think it's funny. How about the Tampa Bay thing? Did you see that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No way. All right, Jake. This is conversation we're having now. This is we're in casual time of the podcast at the moment. So Tampa Bay apparently had this rule.
Oh yeah, I did see this.
Yeah, where you sit in the club seats or the premium seats or whatever, you're not allowed to wear the other team's jersey.
A couple teams, a lot of teams do that actually.
I know Mikey was telling me
club seats on a lot of stadiums are reserved for home team.
Mikey was telling me that the Braves or someone did that and he hated it or something like that. But so
go to your own games then. Like what the?
I get it, but they're Florida teams. I'm okay with that. That makes sense. So that there's a dad and his son, right? His son's like 11 years old, and they're wearing Florida Panthers stuff, right? Sitting either behind a bench or club seats, and the guys, the security guard or whatever is like, yeah, you can't sit in these seats wearing that. And the dude's like, and he's like, I don't want to tell you in front of your son. So if you want to go and we could talk somewhere. And the dad's like, dude, my son is already scared of what's going on. Like, you already did this. And it went back and forth for a while. And I don't know what the conclusion of it was. I know the security guard offered or threatened to call the cops and get them involved in this or it went way out of proportion, right? I mean, the dude's just wearing his team's jersey from the same state that they're in. I thought it was a little ridiculous, right? And then the next day,
They take back the policy.
yeah, Tampa Bay takes back the policy. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, it just reminded me of it. Other than that, this is another one. We're in casual talk. How about Wayne Gretzky, huh? Wayne Gretzky's like, I'm done trying with the Oilers.
That Oilers loss was so embarrassing that Wayne Gretzky quit on them.
Dude.
That's bad.
Wayne was basically, this is how I took it, because of the events that unfolded in that day. Because later that day, we get news that he signed with TNT to be on the broadcast teams for TNT. So here's how I took it. He was like, wow, hockey for me right now is just unfun, dealing with this Edmonton Oilers team. He was like, I kind of want hockey to be fun for me again. Let's go to TNT where I could just talk and watch hockey games and not deal with hockey operations for Edmonton. I mean, he said in his statement that he doesn't have the time to dedicate to the Oilers. Dude, that's bad. That's bad.
It's the man who built the franchise. Saying that, like, listen, you guys are a dumpster fire.
I'm done. I don't have the time for this.
I don't have the mental strength to deal with y'all anymore.
I'm getting older. I'm too old for this.
Yeah, that's basically what he said. He basically said, I'm too old for this shit.
So, that was that. It was funny. So, yeah. That concludes our episode. You remember when we used to have the feel-good moments at the end of the episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should have a little casual talk. That was fun. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. You can watch us on YouTube at JD Network. Or I'm pretty sure if you search on YouTube Between the Benches, we come up. Just look for the light blue logo thing that we got going on. You can follow us on Instagram at Between the Benches JD. And you can watch us live. So follow us. Is it subscribe or follow?
On YouTube?
On Twitch. I think it's follow. You can follow us on Twitch at JD Media Network. And you can watch us live when we do this. And yeah, that's really that.
You can be like Mikey, getting roasted in the comments.
Yeah, or roasting me, or... Yep. So, thank you, Mikey. Thank you, everyone else, for watching, listening, and we'll be back to you with some round 2 action.